I know this video is out of the norm, if I even have a norm. I feel like my upload schedule is all over the place. I've typically only been doing short films recently, and I will keep trying to do that, but right now I want to try something different. Because while I was at work, I was stumbling across this video by Polasaurus Rex, where he essentially talked about the games he had played that last month. And as someone who's constantly playing new games every month, I found it really interesting, and I thought maybe it's something I want to do, just talk about the games that I had played last month. Also, I got a new camera, so I wanted to test it out and try recording something and hopefully get back to editing. So again, if you guys have not seen Polasaurus Rex, I will leave his channel in the description below. He's what inspired me to do this kind of video. And yeah, you're gonna hear a lot of me just rambling on about games, so if that doesn't sound like something you're interested in, then tough luck. The first game that I want to talk about that I played the month of April was Ghost of Tsushima. Now, Ghost of Tsushima was actually one of the first games I had ever played when I got my PS5 around November 2022. I think it was literally the first game I downloaded on the console. I got a couple hours in, probably past the prologue to start, but just dropped the game after that. I really don't know why. The game just did not hook me right away. In fact, I even tried playing the game a year later, got a few hours in, but again, I didn't get far. And I really don't know why. I'd heard a lot of praise about Ghost of Tsushima. That's the reason why I wanted to try it. I kept seeing a lot of people talk about it, but when I tried playing it myself, I could not get into it. With that being said, recently I had beat Fallout 3, and I decided I wanted to play a game on my PS5. And I was looking through games I had not yet completed, but had started. And Ghost of Tsushima was on that list. So I started it, and got hooked right away. For some reason, I guess the gameplay, the story, the visuals, this time it got me. I started playing on a Friday, and I had like 13 hours, 14 hours on the game, and then by that Monday, I ended up with 32 hours on the game. So I don't know where all that time came from, but I racked up quite a bit of time on that game. I have not yet finished the game. I'm still in Act 3, so a little over halfway done with the game, but still not currently done. Hoping I can finish it this month. But there's a lot to say about the game. The game is absolutely amazing. It has very little to no flaws. Of course, the big thing is the story. The story is absolutely amazing. All the characters are super interesting, and you really can tell that a lot of love and care was put into this world. Because even stuff like the side missions are super interesting. I love doing Lady Masako Ishikawa's their quest. Even if they didn't feel like important to the main part of the story, they still felt really interesting, and you kept wanting to do them back to back. And again, we're going back to the characters. The voice acting in this game is absolutely amazing. All the characters feel so genuine. They sound like real people, not Watch Dogs 3 Legion level voice acting. Visually, the game is stunning. One of the best visuals I've seen in the game. Considering the game is not old right now, but it is, you know, an older game, it still looks better than some current modern day games. It's just so peaceful to ride around with your horse through the beautiful flowers and plains. I will say during here in Act 3, it's a pretty much all a snowy area, which is kind of sad because I really loved the vast flowers and grass and trees that was in the first two areas of Ghost of Tsushima. So it kind of goes away a little bit, but even then, the visuals are amazing. The lighting is great, and every time you're riding around, you could just take a screenshot and it would be good enough to be a wallpaper. The soundtrack also is absolutely amazing. I mean, it's the music you're hearing right now in the background, but the soundtrack in this game feels so good. I'm sure the developers put a lot of care into proper Japanese culture, so they can ensure that this music feels as close and realistic to the culture as possible. It makes you feel so badass whenever you're in a fight, and the epic Japanese soundtrack is playing in the background. And then of course the gameplay, the gameplay is great. The gameplay, when you really think about it, is kind of simple because it's pretty much just combat and I guess stealth, but somehow it never gets repetitive. You never feel a dull moment when playing. The combat itself is absolutely amazing. It's a game that very much rewards skill and learning the techniques. I think that's one thing that's really fun about this game, is that it doesn't just feel like you're a samurai, you have to use a sword. You can really take many approaches, and I feel like that is what really helps the game not feel dull, is that you have a lot of options. I'm hoping I can finish Ghost of Tsushima sometime this month, because the game is absolutely great so far. And I don't know why it took me so long to play it, but hey, it's better late than never, so I'm hoping I can finish it sometime this month. The next game that I had played and completed for the month of April was Fallout 3. Also started a little bit of Fallout 1 and 4, but mainly it's Fallout 3. Now, of course, during the month of April, Amazon had released the Fallout show, and the show was absolutely amazing. Definitely one of the best game adaptations I've seen. And well, because it was so good, a lot of people, including me, started to feel, I guess, a Fallout hype. I watched the show and I thought, wow, why did I ever stop playing these games? These games are absolutely amazing. The first Fallout game I'd ever played was Fallout 4. I beat that before COVID, and then I played Fallout New Vegas about a year and a half later. And I had actually tried Fallout 3 a while ago, about 2 years ago, but I did not get past the the mission 3 Dog gives you, where you're supposed to go and retrieve the dish. It was like the dish from the museum. It was filled with super mutants. That's pretty much where I stopped. The game got difficult. I was like, damn, shit's ass, moving on. And boy, what I was missing out on. This time I took a different approach, obviously caught up to where I was from the start. I completely replayed it. And then this time, instead of just going straight to the main mission, I decided to stay in Megaton and just talk around, see if one can give me side quests, give me something to do. And Moira Brown was the girl that came in clutch. If any of you are planning to get into Fallout 3, one of the biggest things I recommend is to talk to Moira in Megaton, because the quests she gives you are so useful. And this time I did a bunch of side quests, so that by the time I did 3 Dog's mission to go to the museum, it was a piece of cake. My character was kitted out and those super mutants were no problem. And again, the game is amazing. I mean, it's an RPG through and through, and it does that extremely well. The main quests, of course, are absolutely great. The side quests are absolutely amazing too. They're all super fun and interesting, and it doesn't feel like other games where you get a side quest and you're like, ah, I really don't want to do this. They tell you what it is and you're like, oh, shoot, I could probably main quest. Sounds interesting. And the voice acting in the game is surprisingly really good. The game is a little bit outdated. Not that much outdated. It's only like a couple, like, how old is it? Wow, 16 years old. Okay, it's a little bit outdated. But again, even then, the voice acting is absolutely great. Even the smallest, most insignificant NPCs that you probably are never going to see have some really realistic and natural sounding voices. The gameplay is fun. Again, pretty outdated. The gun mechanics and everything does feel a little clunky, but I mean, it's fun. Of course, one of the biggest highlights of Fallout, the music. The music in the game is amazing. The soundtrack is so fitting to the aesthetic of the world. Of course, listening to the radio is great. I never get tired of listening to Butcher Pete's Civilization and Maybe. It's so nice to just turn off the radio and just listen to the ambiance of the game, because the soundtrack is so good. The Enclave is a super cool faction that I wish showed up in more of the games. They're not good people, obviously, but they're still a really cool and interesting faction. And mainly, I'm just tired of always seeing the Brotherhood of Steel. The Brotherhood of Steel is really cool, but it's kind of sad that they're really the only thing that ever gets focused on in common media. But yeah, I got really into this game. I grinded the whole game within a week, played almost 2-3 hours a day, and finished the whole game, and it was a blast. And I can comfortably say now that it's probably become my personal favorite Fallout game. Fallout 4 used to be my favorite, but after playing this, I feel like Fallout 4 doesn't really compare in terms of the story, gameplay. Well, gameplay I think Fallout 4 does improve on, but where it lacks a story, it really can make up. And yes, New Vegas fans, I've played New Vegas. It's good, but it's not the greatest. And I'm just now really like internalizing that I've been looking at my viewfinder the whole time. I probably should be looking at the camera. I guess I'll just leave the other clips in. But yeah, I'll start playing a little bit of Fallout 1 on my PC, and it's honestly a very good game. The voice acting is top quality and is definitely the best the series has ever had. But it makes sense, the game is pretty old, so the voice acting was really the best they could do instead of doing animations.
The President of the United fucking States of America. Who do you think I was talking about? Who the fuck? Who is it? What? I should kick your fucking ass.
And in terms of role-playing, you could really make this character like uniquely yours. Probably better than some of the other Fallout games. But it's hard to get into because it has a really steep learning curve. I had to see many videos on how to actually play Fallout and get through the first part because, again, the game is very much different from Fallout 3 and onward. I mean, it's not a 3D game. It's an old school CRPG. I also played the start of Fallout 4. I still think Fallout 4 is one of the best intros, or sorry, the best intro in the series. But again, after playing Fallout 3, I don't know, man. It's hard. Like, I feel like a lot of the charm in Fallout 3 and New Vegas really isn't there in Fallout 4. It just feels a little dull at times. Another game I played this month was Signalis. Now, this game was suggested by a friend who knew that I loved these classic survival horror games like Resident Evil and Silent Hill. So I bought the game because it was on sale. The game has a very cool theme. It's like sci-fi winter parasite zombie game. It's really weird, but it gives me like The Thing or Dead Space 3 vibes, but with weird synthetic robot humans. And of course, very much riffs off the classic PlayStation horror games, but really adds onto it with its cool use of 3D visuals and of course modern controls. I think where this game really stands out is its sound design. Its sound design is one of the greatest I've seen in a horror game. Like, it kind of gives me like the new Dead Space remake level of vibe. It's really good. The game soundtrack is super eerie and really fits the ambiance, but it kicks up a notch whenever you get into a fight and you can really feel the intensity. And of course, the sound effects for this game all feel really nice, especially the healing sound. It's literally just the Among Us task complete noise. And the visual aesthetic is very pleasing. I can't identify what exactly it is, but the whole theme of like the ship, it's like this weird like Japanese Russian looking ship. I don't know, but it's cool. For wanting to look like an old 3D game, the lighting is very well done. Only thing is that the game lore is pretty confusing. I have been for the most part paying attention to everything, the cutscenes and all the magazines and stuff, but it's still really confusing, and I still feel very lost on what exactly is going on half the time. That's not really the game's fault, it's probably just my fault. Just a little hard to catch up with sometimes. And yeah, I haven't finished the game yet. I have barely about 8 or 9 hours in the game, so I'm pretty sure I'm like less than halfway done. I don't really know, but the game's fun so far. Hoping to finish it one day, and it's very cool. So if you're a person who really likes old classic survival games, Resident Evil is the biggest example, then I think Signalis is going to be a very interesting pick for you. Another game that I had played this month was Jedi Survivor. I had actually pre-ordered Jedi Survivor and played it on release, but like every other game, I dropped it after a couple hours, and I really don't know why. I loved Fallen Order. Fallen Order is still the best Star Wars game there is. I think one of the biggest things was that the game didn't really hook me in the start, but I think the problem is that Jedi Survivor lacked that initial wow that Jedi Fallen Order had. It's kind of the same thing that happened with Spider-Man 2 and 1, where Spider-Man 2 is good, but because Spider-Man 1 had, you know, captured all the initial, like, wow, this really is the Spider-Man game, Spider-Man 2 couldn't do the same thing. So I feel like the same thing happened here with Jedi Survivor. That initial wow of like, wow, I feel like a Jedi, like the lightsaber mechanics are so good in this game. It's like, okay, well, that's in this game too. So you really have a lot to make up for if you want to impress people now. I can't really comment on the story because I'm barely at the part where you meet Grease in his like little bar. So again, I'm not even past the second planet, so I can't really comment a lot on the story. Visually though, the game is beautiful. I mean, the scenery is amazing. I feel like everywhere I go, at least in the second planet I'm in, everywhere I go, I can't help but just stop and look around because all the scenery, the foliage, the lighting is really well done. The game's open world definitely feels a lot better and a lot more enjoyable. I don't know if it's just me, but last game I feel like the open world didn't really feel that good to explore. Here it feels a lot better and a lot more enjoyable. And one of my biggest pet peeves, one of the things I hate about this game and I will never understand, is that cutscenes are locked at 30 FPS. Like literally, no matter what. Even if you're on performance mode, which, you know, makes your game 60 FPS, it's going to always cut it back to 30 FPS as soon as a cutscene starts. At the very least, on release, they gave you the option to manually change it. But even then, you had to pause the game every time a new cutscene started and go to change it to performance mode, because it would automatically put it to 30 FPS. But now it doesn't even give you that option. No matter what, it's stuck at 30 FPS, and I just really don't get it. I know the developer said it's because they want to give it a more cinematic look, but it feels so unimmersive when it just randomly like cuts down to 30 FPS. You could definitely see the difference, and I don't get why they don't give people the option to just change it if they want to. If you want to give people a cinematic look, that's great, but I don't think you should force it on people. But yeah, I didn't get far into the game, so I'll probably try Jedi Survivor again once I finish Tsushima, but right now it's not really a priority. The next game I want to mention is Content Warning. Content Warning was made by the same people who made Totally Accurate Battlegrounds, and of course they kept up the tradition of mostly every April Fool's releasing a brand new game for free. And so yeah, I got it free because of April Fool's, and it's honestly pretty fun, I won't lie. It's like Lethal Company, but with content creation. I'm sure a lot of you have seen clips on it, and if you haven't, I recommend looking it up. The game's pretty fun, and it's honestly not expensive either if you want to buy it. I will say it does have as much replay value as Lethal Company, which isn't a lot. Honestly, probably a lot less than Lethal Company, because unlike Lethal Company, you only have one planet you can go to. I say planet, but there's only one place you can go to, so you really don't have a lot of options. But it is a super fun game to play with friends, especially if you're like late at night on a Discord. You know you're gonna have a good time. The character customization in this game is super simple. You literally just use 3 keyboard characters on your face, and that's the whole customization, but it's super genius and really creative. The enemy types in this game are interesting, but after you initially see them the first couple of times, they kind of become less, not scary, but they become less shocking and really less interesting, because you're like, oh, it's the Whisk that runs at you. Well, I mean, you know what he does. But of course, the game is clearly not meant to be a horror game as much as Lethal Company is. It's clearly meant to be taken less seriously, but with horror aspects. And it does do both the horror and the comedic part pretty well, but again, this game mainly lacks content. Funny. I just wish I had a little more, maybe another place you could explore or anything, because right now it just feels a little dull sometimes. But again, considering I got it free for April Fools, I'm not at all complaining. This game is super fun, and even if you buy it for like $8 or I think $10, I don't know how much it is. Again, it's like Lethal Company. You pay very little, but you get a pretty good experience for a couple weeks maybe. And then we got everything else, aka the 2 games that I consider cozy games. I don't know if one of them is really a cozy game, but to me it is. Project Zomboid. Whoa, you consider Project Zomboid a cozy game? Any game that has farming is a cozy game. But yeah, I had started a new solo world because I had bought a Steam Deck and I wanted to try out the game on the Steam Deck. And I will say the game felt really good. If any of you have a Steam Deck or plan to get Steam Deck for cozy games, even though Zomboid does not feel like it would work on the Steam Deck, it very much feels like a PC game. It honestly ran pretty well. Not just ran well, but just felt really good. The controls did not feel at all forced or cluttered. They actually felt very smooth and natural. I didn't really do a lot. I only had a couple hours in the world before I moved on to different games. That's because the game can feel a bit lonely sometimes. But again, I played Zomboid a lot before. It's always more fun with friends, but I just had to mention it here because I did play it pretty differently than I had before. And then finally, Stardew Valley. I bought Stardew Valley alongside Signalis. They were both on sale, so I got them both combined for like $25, so not bad. And I don't know, I thought it was gonna be my new go-to cozy game because that's what Stardew Valley is, like the biggest cozy game there is out there. But I'm looking at the wrong camera again. But I just got really lost on what I needed to do. I know a lot of people said you really shouldn't overthink Stardew Valley. You should just play and just do what you think is right. There's really there's no right or wrong. You just do what you want. But I don't know, I felt pretty lost. The mission things didn't really help a lot. I don't really know where to start. Maybe, and that's probably a fault on me. Nothing wrong with the game. I'm sure the game is amazing, but for me, I lacked a lot of direction. So maybe one day I'll go back to it. Someday where I have more time to just sit down and just really like go through the ins and outs of Stardew Valley. But after having a bunch of finals for the end of the semester, it was really hard to just sit down and play Stardew Valley because it felt like I was wasting time. Again, that's cozy games. They're meant to be like time killers, but at least I want to feel productive. Stardew Valley did not feel productive for me. So I'm sorry talking a lot of crap on Stardew Valley. I think it's a great game. I just couldn't get into it right now, but hopefully one day I'll get back into it. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the games that I played in April. I do hope every month that I can do something like this. It's not hard at all to record for 30 minutes me talking about video games, and it's fun. I like filming, I like editing, I like talking about video games, so it's kind of perfect. If you all have any recommendations of games that I should play either this month or the upcoming month, I would absolutely appreciate it because I'm always down to play new games. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to give you a little rundown on the games that I've been playing. And again, check out Porosaurus Rex. He's the original account that I saw do this and the inspiration for this video. And now that I actually have a new camera, I'm hoping that I can actually get the motivation to film something, even if it's something small for you guys. I don't only have to do short film stuff. I might upload some videos like this every once in a while just to kind of have something to do. Enough rambling on. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you maybe next month for the Megan Gaming.